And we are live.
Hello, everyone. Let's wait for this to catch up.
Cameron, you are barely visible on the stream.
I'm barely visible. Yeah, I'm
you are a dark silhouette.
I know. I'm currently at my mother's house, so yeah, there's not any lighting in this side of the room. So I apologize, everyone. I'm gonna have to be
you are barely visible.
the textbook evil villain for today. The shadows.
Yeah, you are a dark silhouette.
I know. I'm currently. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? So yeah, there's not any lighting in this side of the room. So let me get some feedback in the chat real quick. To be
you are barely visible.
The textbook evil. Just making sure everything's good with you shadows. Yeah,
you are a dark silhouette.
I know. I'm currently. Hello, everyone. How's everyone? I think there might be a YouTube delay actually. Just in this side of the room. So
I'm hearing the delay, the echo.
The textbook evil. Just making sure everything's good with you shadows. Okay. So then I guess we're gonna have to go for delayed chat.
Dark silhouette.
Okay, that's interesting.
I know why. Okay, my bad. I know why. I have a chat feature that was streaming alongside and was feedbacking the audio from the stream itself. Yeah, my bad. It's fine. It's fixed now.
Oh, okay. So everyone can hear us, right? Yes. My apologies. I'm currently at my mother's house right now, so there's no lighting at my desk since I moved away for college. So I'm gonna have to be the evil villain for today. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so today we have an exciting meeting actually today. Today is going to be, the theme is going to be, okay, everyone's good. Okay, sorry, I looked at what Mitch was saying. So today's theme is DAOs. In talking for community, we need to keep reiterating what it means to be a DAO. And also today, on top of that, we're going to have a special demo today because we've partnered with a special company to add extra DAO functionality to Aquari. And I won't reveal any more. You'll definitely get to see that. You'll have to stay tuned later to see what we have rolled out for you. So I hope all the Aquarians out there are having a great evening, and we'll get this show on the road. So today, joining us today is obviously Miss Victoria Nguyen with us. Say hi to the audience real quick.
Hi everybody.
Yes. So we'll just get started because I know everyone. It's an evening. Everyone has stuff to do. So we'll get going. So I just want to reiterate. First question. Seeing from the chat is people always ask, what is a DAO? A DAO is a decentralized, autonomous organization, and that is a term in the crypto world for basically an organization that is governed and maintained by code. You have code as law, and through the use of code and smart contracts, you can actually coordinate an entire decentralized organization, hence the name DAO. So in the crypto world, to give some good analogies here is that, everyone is familiar with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, first cryptocurrency, you can actually create a digital asset. What is Ethereum? People think Ethereum is just, another cryptocurrency and whatnot. But actually, the thing that makes Ethereum revolutionary is smart contracts. And I won't go into it because we all know this, but what does that represent? If Bitcoin is digital currency and a digital asset, and if Ethereum has smart contracts, then what makes Ethereum special? Ethereum is special because Ethereum is digital law. That's where the main value of Ethereum and contract-enabled blockchains, that's where their value comes from. And in our current legal system, our entire free market is coordinated by organizations, but you also have legal representations of these entities. You have corporations and LLCs, nonprofits, et cetera, et cetera. And in any society's legal system, there's contracts enabled between parties to allow commerce to happen and value generation to happen. DAOs are what an LLC or a corporation or a legal entity would be in the digital decentralized world. A DAO utilizes smart contracts on the blockchain to coordinate and establish trust between different organizations and members within its own organization. So payroll, HR, all of these things are handled through code. And what Aquari aims to become is the world's first environmental conservation organization, DAO. Now, a lot of people throw that term around to just mean, communities. But what we're talking about is from like an actual technical standpoint. We want to actually coordinate every action that is taken by traditional NGOs in the existing world and have that represented on chain. So that is the explanation of what a DAO is. My second bullet point is, why do we need a DAO? We need a DAO as Aquari because the idea is that when you guys buy Aquari, you're not giving a donation. You're buying equity in this environmental conservation org. You're buying shared ownership along with all other Aquari holders to benefit from the value generated by our cleanups and the future value we generate from the world. So through that, you're going to earn a revenue share based on our redistribution tokenomics. And the reason we need a DAO is because this is how the will of our holders and our organization is actually executed. And a lot of people ask, okay, well, we have a DAO and it's decentralized, and why do we need a DAO? But I heard that Victoria is the head of like DAO operation and whatnot. So what is the point of Victoria's position? Is that just like a special title or what? And the answer to that is no. So the thing is that Aquari is separated into two different entities. I mean, it's one entity, but we have two branches. You have the actual Aquari Foundation, which through me and Mache, we actually coordinate all of the day-to-day operations, working with our cleanups and all the hiring of like the laborers. It's because through democracy, you can't run a company through democracy on the micromanagement level. So you still need appointed staff to have a top-down hierarchy because traditional, the MBAs are right, management theory still applies, and you need that efficiency to actually properly execute things. However, the thing is that on the side of that, we also have the DAO, which the way Manche and I always envisioned it is, if for example, a company is run by a CEO and the CEO delegates all of his staff below him or her and carries out the day-to-day operations of the org. Then there's the board of directors, who are consisted of the shareholders who direct and appoint the CEO and thus so to actually set the overall goal and direction of where the company is moving. What we kind of envision is, we want to create a way where instead of having a board, instead of having members have to appoint a specific board to represent the voices of the shareholders, we wanted to actually use the power of the blockchain through a DAO to actually make the shareholders the direct board, if that makes sense. So what happens is we're essentially founding an environmental conservation org from the ground up. And what we're doing is that's what this past year has been done, building the structure. And we deployed this org to actually pursue cleanups around the world. But then the point of the DAO is you guys, the Aquari holders, are a decentralized organization that coordinates together. And through governance on chain with our upcoming application, Aquavote, you can fulfill the role of what, in a traditional company, the board of directors would do and actually set the steering wheel. The main paradigm shift here is that, with traditional orgs, you give away money and you don't know what happened. With Aquari, you buy equity into this organization, you now have ownership, and now you, combined with the other holders, right now we're at 11,000 roughly, are in a driver's seat, and you get to point, here's my money, okay, or go here, do this, enact this change. And so the point of Victoria's position is, every board of directors needs a chairman of the board, and Victoria is, with her previous experience in running DAOs, ops, and previous DAOs, she's the perfect person to fulfill this role to help the Aquari community transition into this DAO structure. And she will be working with you guys closely to actually iron out the kinks and actually go about the day-to-day operations of, being a DAO. So I'll give Victoria the floor here so she can actually further explain in her words what a DAO is and the responsibilities of being in a DAO in her eyes.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Cameron, for going deep into DAOs. I appreciate that. DAOs are really exciting to me personally. So I hope everyone kind of is able to gain a better sense of the point of a DAO, also just how a DAO works. Well, I'll kind of go more deep into that, but also if there's any questions whatsoever, please continue to keep asking us, because it's really important to have a transparent communication between all of us. And I know it's a whole new concept about DAOs and just in Web 3.0 and like, why do they exist in the first place? What's the point of them? But I really truly believe that, the cryptocurrency aspect is obviously very important. It's like a stock. It's to raise money for a certain mission, right? But in the same way, like, I think what really drives people are the people that work together with like-minded individuals. And I think to really make a sustainable mission is to emphasize the point of community, emphasize the point of why are we all here together and how can we grow together? Because I think that's the mindset that we're trying to work towards. So I just want to go over a brief description of what I've been working on recently and steps that we're going to be taking forward to move on the end of a DAO. So the past few weeks, I've been doing a lot of, DAO spying. Is kind of the word to say it, which is just really going into a bunch of DAOs and understanding how they work. The structure for DAOs isn't necessarily committed. There's a lot of, every single DAO is trying to form what's the best way to really grasp people and help make them stay and help make them contribute more, and to really push the mission. And so every DAO does this differently. So I think that's the most interesting. And then the next level goes into international waters and how does everyone interact in that way, and how do we really keep everybody together, moving forward together. And so I've been spying, the biggest DAO that I've kind of been looking at is this DAO called WGMI, WGMI, which is a community DAO. So a bunch of community managers just come together in this DAO and they kind of talk about directions that they've moved, directions that they're trying to move together to take forward, not only the DAO, but their own DAOs or whatever communities they are in, which is really interesting. It's kind of like a matrix situation for a DAO to be a DAO consisting of community members when, there's different directions you can take DAOs. So I've been learning a lot from them, and also just general experience about DAOs and kind of how do I make this better for everyone to onboard and move into a DAO. So I've been talking to a lot of other community managers. I've been talking to a bunch of other founders just to kind of get their perspectives, and then doing a lot of research on DAO philosophy, which is really interesting. So if anyone is ever interested on that end, please let me know and we can kind of work together and try to understand better and anything of that sort. And so to give a better description of what I've basically been working on is I think there's a lot of things that we don't think about often when it comes to forming a DAO, which is really utilizing and I don't know how to say this, but I guess really creating a smooth platform for people to get onboarded into the DAO well. So a lot of what I've been working on, for example, is on Discord. We haven't been able to see it yet just because I want to finalize the onboarding process and workflow when we do integrate this. But a lot of that has to go along the lines of, creating like reaction roles and whatnot to say like, oh, like give us a little more information on like your personality, like where are you from? Like, are you a builder? Are you into community management? Maybe in the Web 2.0 space, are you into like project management? Are you into finance? Just in general, I'd assume so, right? But just like little points like that to kind of give us a little more of a personal relationship with you, but also personal relationship inside of the community. Because, we want to take care of our community and we want to really build the relationships in here. So on that end, Discord has been super, I guess, like a huge part of my effort. Another part of my effort is we hope to implement Notion into our DAO. If you guys aren't familiar with Notion, Notion is like a organizational platform, more or less to say. It allows you to really like communicate, I guess, everything, and then you can be able to share it with other people. So eventually I want to be able to share this with our pods that will help contribute into Aquari, into our DAO. So the Notion interface kind of really making a transparent line of communication to understand like directions that we want to take forward and how can we work together. So that's been a really huge one, and there's huge projects coming that way as well. I've been compiling a list of like who to reach out for what, not only in our community, but externally as well, just so we have like a very documented interface and that we're, establishing good relationships with everybody. A lot of, I guess, what I do is a lot of documentation, documentation so that everyone can know exactly where to go for what and that there's no confusion. I know Telegram, our community uses Telegram a lot. I'm personally not as familiar with Telegram until I joined this community back in March. But I'm more, I'm really big about organization. So I love like Notion. I love Discord if we can really utilize it well. Because I feel that Telegram, I feel like a lot of the information gets lost, and I want to make sure that everybody is able to really like see everything and not get confused. Because there's a lot going on all the time. So that's been a big one. So list of what we'll need help on, that's a big one as well. Not only, I'm going to go into pods soon. Not only, I guess, is our core team directing like not mandatory, but items that we really need help on, but a big thing about DAOs is to have this interaction with you and really to ask like, oh, how do you think like what are your thoughts of how to build our DAO better, how to build Aquari better? We really want to, this is a decentralized autonomous organization. We want to build together and eventually allow it to just like seamlessly flow into an autonomous like direction. But at first we do need the help of like building it, right? So that's been what I've been really working on. And to kind of go more into pods. So after a lot of thought and a lot of, I guess, I don't know how to say this, kind of like part of the DAO spying, but also thinking about our specific community right now. And I guess from the looks of it, who does want to help and who has been like communicating that forward to us, I have been able to construct it down into 4 separate pods. So the 4 pods that will be available, and I still want to open the conversation. So if you think there's another pod that should be formed and that you're like really interested in, or any contribution whatsoever that you're interested in, please let me know so that we can like give this access to our community and like really utilize what you want to do. So the 4 pods are the growth pod, which is kind of like a marketing pod. Anything that's leading the programming that helps get the word out about Aquari is mainly what it is. So social media, growth, business development, PR, whatnot, if that can expand more. Right now, Danny is like our main marketing manager. So a lot of conversation will be going on with him. There's a bunch of people in the marketing pod already. And so that's one pod. The second pod is a community pod. And that might get a little confusing because it's like, these are already community pods. Why is there another community pod instead of the community pod, right? It's a whole matrix situation. So the reason why we need to have this is because a lot of the efforts that come into creating a DAO are actually the community building, the onboarding process. So that's kind of what this pod will be about, like onboarding, member involvement and retention, really like utilizing our efforts to make sure that our community is like appreciated, and how do we like, you know, keep them. So that also goes in line with like event planning, like IRL versus in virtually. You know, there's different directions that we can take that. For example, we want to really utilize Twitter Spaces eventually, so we can have open conversations with everybody. And IRL events, you know, bringing the community together. So that's a huge thing that definitely needs help. So, for example, our cleanup in Belgium, which is super exciting, would kind of flow into Community Pod. So whoever is really interested about this can go in there. And then the onboarding and, like, for example, how I'm working on Notion, document anything. And then the third one is the creative pod. So overseeing design, editorial, audio, video of Aquari. So I eventually want to move into like newsletters, blogs on environmental conservation, maintaining like the database of like our gallery, which we do have right now. So I'll go in there and design processes and products for Aquari. And then the last one that did recently come up is the governance pod. So essentially, what is the purpose of this? It's to really bring around the people who are the Congress of Aquari, and this is elected by the community. But Cameron will kind of be mentoring the people in this governance pod because there's a lot flowing into there, and we need help designing the governance interface and whatnot. So on that, and also creating like a governance forum where people will send in proposals. So that's kind of been what I've been working on. Cameron's going to go over more of the tooling that will help this process. So like we said, we want to emphasize really valuing our work. So that's what we'll move into. And then I will be distributing a Aquari application form for contributors. So really we can make sure like you do want to help and you do want to commit in. So Cameron, I'll lead off to you to kind of talk more about the tooling.
Okay, so thank you everyone for listening into that, and thank you, Victoria, for giving everyone a brief overview on the importance of DAO and DAO infrastructure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So now I know you guys have been waiting. I know we don't have to be waiting any longer. So today we're going to go ahead and actually start with our product demo now. So we're actually partnering with another Web3 native organization called DWork. And what they do is they create project management software for DAOs. So for those of you, you know, if you work in software development or whatnot, or project management, like you might be familiar with what is known as a Kanban board. For those of you that don't know, I don't need to explain it because our guest today will actually showcase that in a bit. I'll invite him shortly. But currently behind the scenes, while we've been transitioning from running Aquari in a centralized manner to a DAO, we've been basically in the process of delegating certain tasks that were handled by Manshe and I solely in a centralized fashion, and delegating that to members of the community. And for some tasks, actually, you know, some community members have been able to be rewarded in Aquari for executing that. So the thing is obviously a human can only keep track of so many people at one time. Eventually, you know, as we expand this, you're going to need software to be able to keep track of who's participating in what bounty and whatnot. And the software that DWork has actually developed is actually pretty amazing. And they're going to come and give a nice product demo today. I want you guys to welcome them in. And I want to let you guys know when we're done with this, just let me know what you guys think. I think you guys will be really excited because this is exactly how you guys will be able to start to directly participate in the DAO, get a more clear idea on what tasks are assigned to what members of our community. And also this is how you'll be able to get an opportunity to earn Aquari or BUSD or DAI rewards, depending on the task yourself. And this is the main incentive mechanism that actually propels DAO forward. So I will go invite our guests right now. Please give me a moment so he can join the Discord, and we'll put the floor onto him. Let's see. Yes, hello, welcome. I believe your mic is muted.
Victoria, did you give him the permission to speak?
Oh, that might be the case.
Hmm,
Let's see.
we should be able to if he has access to this.
Yeah.
He needs speak permissions. Yeah, no, he does not speak perms. Let's see.
Okay, we should be able to now. And video.
Join, come back, and see if you can get speak permissions for this channel. Hello?
Hey, I might be audible now.
Yes.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me, Cameron, Machi, and good to meet you, Victoria.
Good to meet you too.
Awesome. Great.
Yes.
So yeah, glad to be here. Any more of a context you'd like to set up? Otherwise, do you think it'd be good if I jump into a screen share? How would you like me to kind of go about the demo?
I think you could just go straight into the screen share. I think we gave a good enough preliminary explanation. You can give your intro from the D-Work perspective.
Awesome, great. Yeah, sure. Glad to be here and good to have everyone on the call. Let me just go ahead and share my screen and hopefully should be visible right about now.
Machi, are you able to full screen that? Beautiful.
Awesome.
Okay, the
Great.
floor is yours.
Thanks so much again for having me. So hey everyone, I'm Rathers. I'm one of the folks over at D-Work, and we're here to kind of talk through a little bit of how our project management tool can help, right, as a DAO in a Web3 native fashion to kind of engage with the workflows that you as a DAO are defining at this stage. And it was really great, Victoria, hearing you speak before this to kind of help me understand the approach you're taking, which is kind of a pod approach. And a lot of what we try to do with D-Work is allow it to be as flexible as possible so that it can work with your DAO setup. So this is the website. I just want to quickly highlight, right, some of the key aspects that we're focusing on is really how to get contributors involved, how to really sync up with the Discord so that there's no discrepancy between what you're managing as a project and what you're actually discussing in your Discord. So it's great to see that you all are building that out. So I was just taking a poke around before the call, before joining in. And also the fact that from the contributor standpoint, it's not only valuable within purely within D-Work, we're actually piloting right now an on-chain reputation mechanism, which will basically mean that all tasks completed, especially if their bounties, will of course pay out in the bounty amount, but will actually also be on-chain reputation that gets built for you as the individual. So that's something that you can take with you anywhere. It doesn't matter that you step outside of D-Work, it will be on the chain and you can point to it as an NFT. And so we're really excited to kind of showcase some of this. So yeah, I can jump directly into a kind of a small test space. So this may or may not be what your DAO space ends up looking like, Aquarians. But just listening into Victoria and the aspect of having the pods, I thought may be helpful to kind of showcase what it possibly could be like as a sort of a starting point. And this basically helps you as individuals and the project, right, and the core team kind of organize all the different tasks that are relevant in the different projects. So let me take a few moments and kind of highlight a few of the key points. So with D-Work, the way all the tasks and the way projects and workflows happen is within projects. So you'll see there are multiple different sections here. And as I was mentioning earlier, these kind of could relate possibly to the kinds of pod setup that you'll have. And it could also be different depending on how, in further conversations with Victoria and the team, it's decided to be taken. But for the sake of the demo, I thought this might be handy. And so you'll see that I've included some projects as sample projects underneath this. At this point, it'd be good maybe I dive in and showcase what does a project look like. So just clicking into the marketing project, you'll see this is the Kanban board that Cameron was mentioning earlier. It's a very straightforward process of when you have an idea, you bring it up in to do, and then you kind of work your way over to the done column. This is quite common for those of you who are aware of tools like Trello or Asana, right? You would have seen this kind of layout before. And now what's interesting and what we've looked to do to help DAOs is bring that kind of structure that is, been around for quite a while, but update it for, the Web3 space. So I'll demonstrate very quickly what it would be like for somebody who's coming in as a project steward, who basically will be able to manage this project and control it. So it could be Victoria or Machi, depending on the different, projects or the different pods that they're sort of assisting. And so in this case, let's assume I'm taking on the role of sort of a marketing project steward, and I want to create a set of bounties for the community to come in and kind of take advantage of and use. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click the plus button, and I'll say that, hey, we want to make a new blog post about our beach cleanup at certain location, and you can have the usual things like tags so that you can filter by them later. You can put in whatever's relevant so that you can search for it at a certain point in time, and you have the usual things like checklists, and you can include links. All of that rich markdown features are available as well, including the addition of imagery or any file. So we support drag and drop as well. So I'll just select some file for now for the sake of the demo. And I'll go ahead and say that these are the assets. This is the main content that someone needs to actually go ahead and fulfill this bounty. But I can take it a step further. Normally with other managers, it would just be this is enough. But we can go ahead and actually add in a payment method. So this is more for the project steward. So anyone who's kind of coming in as that kind of role would kind of do these kinds of actions. And so I would just go ahead and set up maybe the Gnosis safe. That could be handy, which I'll demonstrate in a few moments. We're adding in support for Binance as we speak. So that should be out in just a couple of days. For now, for the demo, I'll just use a Polygon safe. I'll copy over my test address. Let me close that. And I'll hit connect. And we're connected. So at this stage, you can pretty much pick any token that's of value. I heard Cameron, you mentioned earlier that USD, DAI, and Aquari, could be tokens. So for any token that doesn't show up over here, you could just go ahead and select it, putting in the relevant token address, do a lookup, and it'll show up, and then you can add that token. So you can add all the different tokens that you want, 2, 3 more, as many. And then that payment method basically becomes activated for this entire project. So at that stage, to really make this a true bounty, I would actually go ahead and add a certain amount of the token. And that actually gets added on as well to the task. And you'll see that right up front when I click create. So now from a project steward standpoint, it's pretty simple. I could easily have also set this up as a template. And when this is ready, I can go ahead and duplicate this task many times. And keep only the relevant aspects within it, and I can then edit them one by one if I needed. So it's a great way to also quickly spin up bounties or spin up tasks for the different communities or the different pods, and that'll be quite handy. Now, for you as the Aquarians, you're must be wondering, like, how do I engage? How do I get started with this? So I'll just do that again. Under the invite button, there's an ability to invite contributors. And this is an open link, so anybody can get access to this in the sense that you want to grow the community through this kind of an outreach. You could do that, all right? And we could ensure that we grow the holders, for example, even as well. So in this case, I'll assume, right, that may be the case for the marketing team or for the marketing pod. And I'll switch over to a different view, right? So this is the view of an individual. So this could be anyone in the community, and they've received the link that I just copied, maybe from the Discord, or maybe it's from Twitter or somewhere that the team has posted it so that people can get access and join in. And I'll paste that link, and automatically I get brought directly into that specific project. It tells me who invited me as well as to which project, and I can accept the invite. And at that stage, I actually become a member then as a contributor. I become a contributor to that individual project. So this way, it's great to also ensure that that members of the DAO who want to participate in certain functions only can become members of relevant pods, depending on the setup. And if I take a look at this bounty now from the perspective of the contributor, I can open it up and say, hey, this has this information and these are the requirements. These are the assets I have to use. It's going to pay out this much. This is great. I want to, contribute. I want to be able to, give my time or add some value over here. So I'll click I'm interested. And I'll be able to then say, hey, I'm maybe busy these 2 days, and I'm going to go ahead and say I'll do it over Thursday and Friday. And at that point, I can say, I've done previous work like this, and maybe put some links, or maybe there was some requirements specifically that were mentioned in the bounty, and I can add all of that content in here. So I can give a relevant perspective to the project steward of why they should pick my submission. And then if I switch back over to the project steward view, it then allows them to actually pick a contributor. So there could be one or multiple community members saying that they are equipped to take the bounty up. And for the project steward, they can see what you've submitted. They can see when you are proposing to complete it by. And if you happen to be doing more and more tasks over time on DWork, they can even go ahead and click on your profile and actually see, hey, what else has this person done, maybe in Aquari, maybe in other DAOs, and what reputation score have they got, and what earnings have they done. And it can just be helpful over time to kind of build your reputation. And for you as a contributor, as I was mentioning earlier, all of these individual tasks that get completed will end up getting minted on chain as NFTs. So that way it's also valuable for you and for your contributions to actually be tracked. It's no longer I spent 1 year in a DAO, it's I've completed 100 tasks for DAO A, B, C, D. So it can be also helpful from that perspective. So jumping back, as a project steward, I love this person's profile. I like what they've shared as a contributor, and I think that they are the right fit. I'll go ahead and assign them. And you'll see that automatically then sort of updates, moves it to in progress. And it enables that person to kind of take control of the task in a manner of speaking. So if I switch back over to that view of the contributor, you'll see that they now are able to kind of move this task around specifically. And you'll also notice that the other difference is they can't add tasks to other columns. So the aspect is that the contributor is solely focused on the tasks that they are assigned to and where they want to contribute. Over time, and it really depends on the way Aquari wants to set it up. If they want to have and promote contributors to project stewards, they will then gain the ability to also engage with management of these boards. So that can happen in time. So now coming back to me as a contributor, I've seen the work, I've done some research, I've written up an article, and I want to go ahead and make a submission. So I click add a submission. I click on the link button and I say, here's the Medium post. And, maybe I say, here's another asset that I created along with it. And I've included that in the post. And you can also drag and drop, other files. If you want to put a PDF or anything like that, you can do so. And then you made that submission. And it basically, at that stage, you want to say, hey, this is perfect time to get into review. And for the project steward, they can go over and say, hey, I've got an update. This is, maybe ready to go. Let me take a look. I'll read the post. I'll take a look at the asset. And I'll say, hey, this is perfect. This is what we want for this bounty. And I'll approve that. And at that stage, it'll be ready for payment. So the payout can happen pretty straightforwardly. But before I do that, maybe I'll take a quick pause and check in with the folks on the stream, Cameron, Machi, Victoria. Any questions, anything that I could maybe assist specifically with what Aquari is looking for? Because next I'll be looking to demonstrate the Discord integration.
Monche, Victoria, do you have anything to say?
In addition to what Victoria said about our migration to using Discord more often, I think it would be amazing to show how dwork is connected with Discord and how it's going to allow like information to flow seamlessly from Discord and dwork one way or another.
Yeah, sounds great. Can do. So let me go ahead and do right that. Sorry, go ahead, Victoria.
I don't know. I think this is an awesome tool. I'm actually like, wow, I feel like every DAO needs this. It's like such an issue for a lot of DAOs, like bounties and making a very like organized interface. So this is like really cool to watch. I don't have any questions.
Awesome. Great. Glad to hear that. We're definitely always open to feedback though. So as you know, as your DAO also starts working with it, building out workflows, etc., we are open to having, further talks and conversations and understanding how we can, improve the tool and make it even more flexible. So quickly, what I'll do is I will also showcase another quick feature as I'm going to turn on the Discord integration. So you'll see that I've turned on enable suggestions column. So to the point that was just made earlier, the aspect of contributors and members of the DAO being able to have a voice, we feel that this is a great way to do that in a way that is a little structured as well. And I'll showcase that in just a moment as I'm building this out. I'll also go ahead and showcase the Discord integration. Right. And what we've noticed is quite common at this stage is that Discord is the home of a lot of DAOs. And in the case of Aquari, we understand that you all have, started making that transition. And so in this example, I will go ahead and connect this to a test Discord server. So I have those permissions so that I can send messages and manage threads, authorize that. And then you'll see that there's a neat option to either create a thread per task, post all task updates in one channel, or post all task updates in one specific channel thread. So again, depending on the way that your Discord is set up and the way you want your pods to operate, this could evolve. But we tend to say from a bounty perspective, a thread per task can be really handy. So we would go ahead and want to choose that. And I'll just switch over to this DAO view and say, hey, we're going to have a marketing pod. Or a marketing project. Let's have a marketing channel that's, equivalent to that. And we're going to say that it's going to be paired 1:1 between the marketing project and the marketing channel. So you'll see that shows up over here. I'll also turn on post all newly created tasks to marketing and connect that. And with that simple step, any new tasks that will end up getting created on the board will actually then trigger an update in the Discord. So I'll quickly demonstrate that, right? So I'll go ahead and create another bounty over here, create a banner for, feature Y, just something sample for the demo, put in a small bounty, and we're off to the races. And at this stage, this will, as I mentioned earlier, trigger a notification in the Discord. So we now have an update that says, new task created with the title, create a banner for feature Y. The reward is mentioned and it says apply or grab task. And clicking on that will literally just take you directly to that board and to that task. If you're not a sort of a contributor yet, you obviously want to have, use that invite link first. But once you get in, you'll be able to start, applying and submitting, to that. So if I go back into this task and say, hey, we've now got some submissions, or we know that there's a specific user that wants to work on this task, we'll assign them. And you'll see now there's a new update, which actually automatically creates a thread. So now me as the reviewer and the contributor are added in here and can actually have a chat and say, hey, those assets used last week are great for this post or great for this banner. Try it out, right? The point being here that if your conversations, if your community is building up within Discord, we don't want to come in as dwork and say, no, have conversations on dwork and do something else on Discord. We want it to remain within your space that you're comfortable with. And in this case, the thread feature really helps, so that over time, as the task moves over, you will see that it also triggers relevant updates in the Discord as well, to kind of give that notification to the relevant teams that such and such activity is happening. So I moved it over to a review, and it gave an update, so that me as the reviewer, I don't have to constantly be checking dwork. I can just be in the Discord working with the community, and I get an update saying, hey, this is ready for review. I can click into that and directly land on the task and say that, great, yeah, the submission that was provided is exactly what we need, and I'm going to go ahead and say it's ready for payment. Maybe I give a review and say, great job, love the effort. And that also goes on the individual's tasks. So it's a great, as I mentioned earlier, from that reputation perspective. And that automatically adds in an update saying the task is now completed. And if I close this, you'll see that that thread is no longer there. If I go under here, that thread is automatically being archived as well. So that ensures that your Discord also remains clean, and it ensures that the people who are watching the board also get updates, because we've posted an update in the main channel saying, hey, this task is now done. So yeah, this is a great feature we've seen a lot of DAOs really take to, in the way that they can assign projects one-to-one with relevant channels, or sometimes even multiple projects to one channel, even depending on how that DAO is set up and the workflow that makes the most sense for them. I'll take a quick revert back to the earlier flow. As I mentioned, bounties can also be paid out in batches, because we're using the Gnosis Safe feature. And that means that individuals can get paid all together in once. So it reduces the overhead for the operations team. It reduces the overhead for any project stewards. So maybe once a week or once a month, you can go ahead and just create a batch transaction of maybe 10, 20, 50, 100 bounties, really depending on what's relevant. And at that stage, you pretty much have a full-fledged bounty board that enables management of tasks. It can also doesn't necessarily have to be bounties. You can just use it for plain old, tracking of work. As I mentioned earlier, the great feature of community suggestions, if I switch back over to the contributor view, can be handy also for the community to have a voice within the specific board. Since they can't create other tasks, they can say, hey, we really need a campaign around, Y, and then, mention that. And then the community can actually go ahead and directly within dwork upvote that, and so that the team or the project stewards of this project can notice that this is something that maybe needs to get some more visibility or needs to get worked on. And so from the perspective of the project steward, let me just give an example that it's got more votes. They can then say, hey, great, this is a great suggestion from the community. We're going to go ahead and make it a full-fledged task. We're going to add a reviewer. We're going to add an assignee. We're going to add some, all of that. Add in a bounty. And that basically means that there's a full-fledged flow, right, from ideation, conceptualization, till the completion of a feature. So maybe I'll take a quick pause and then check in if there are questions from the stream that might be valuable for us to start answering, or from anyone else, from everyone else up here, Cameron, Machi, or Victoria.
Yes. Thank you for taking the pause. So community, I know this was a whole brain dump, but we'll definitely have videos to explain everything and how it will specifically pertain to Aquari in the future once dwork finishes the Binance integration. But yes, if you have any questions, we just want to have this AMA to give you guys an overview of what's to come and exactly how you guys as community members can interface with Aquari as an organization and get rewarded for it. And the thing is right now, through Telegram, the community will propose tasks and whatnot, and the team will say, okay, this is being worked on and whatnot. But the thing is, you guys don't get any transparency in terms of okay, at what stage is each task being done and executed, and which community member is responsible for executing specific tasks. D-Work will help with all of that. So yes, if you guys have any questions, yeah, just please feel free to ask him, because while he's here, you have the official representative here.
Yeah, we're happy to get input and feedback, and it might even be helpful if we over here on the Aquari Discord, if you want to have a channel for D-Work, we could have myself or another representative be available to take more feedback over time, because as you said, this can be quite a brain dump for folks who are not used to flows or a Kanban view and things like that. So we're happy to continue the process and continue engaging with the community to help and ensure that they're able to be onboarded well. Yeah, so maybe as I wait for some questions, I'll just demonstrate a few simple other features. Right, we have a list view as well for those of you who are more comfortable with a standard list of tasks. We have filtering that might be relevant for different kinds of tasks. So if you want to look at which are blog oriented or a certain time of the year, you can do all of that. You can filter by a certain person, whether it's an assignee or a reviewer, and just kind of see like how much work is one person sort of taking up, or is there a space for more that can be done from somebody. And this can be handy as well overall for the community. One other thing that probably could be handy, which I think is good, as you mentioned about the point on transparency, Cameron, is if you're talking about tasks across multiple places, and let me just go ahead and say, sorry. Members, right? I'm just going to make a couple of tasks in different projects, and that could be handy as well. Just to kind of showcase a certain feature, create for all new projects. And if I go back over to that DAO view, right? So that DAO overview, you can switch over to the combined board, and to that level of transparency, you can actually see how all the different tasks across all the different projects and pods are actually what status they're in, and automatically know if there's something that needs assistance because maybe it's unclaimed, so there's a bounty that's ready to be taken up, or there are a couple of things that are maybe overlapping in review and it needs some attention. So it really is valuable from that transparency aspect, as you were saying.
I have a question. So this is interesting. On the end of, I guess, like the public aspect, public versus private, like, is it like, I guess, who has access when is the question? Like, is it just like a share link URL situation? And then also, is it possible to see like other communities do work platforms too? Or is it just like if you get an invite? I'm kind of curious about that.
Yeah, sure. So the way we set it up is that everything that is set as public, and if I go into, say, any of these boards and check the settings, anything that's set as public is viewable by any D-worker on the platform. So it can help for people to browse other DAOs and see what's out there, see what other work is available. The moment it's set as private, it's only visible to those who are invited specifically into that project. So it could be valuable when you're setting something up, it's not yet ready for prime time, you keep it as private, and then you'll see that it no longer shows up. It has a lock symbol next to it. And only those, if I go over now, let me change that. Let me make this other board private, the social media board, and turn the marketing one back to public. And if I go back over to that contributor view, they can go to that main level, and let me refresh. And they won't see that board anymore because it's been marked as private. And the same will go for any other DAO. So I have a bunch of test DAOs over here, just sort of jumping in just to kind of show you how the boards would look like. But a couple of other DAOs that you could see is all on the home page. So if you just go all the way up one more level to home, you could actually see all the different DAOs and projects that are being sort of set up so far, that are being utilized. And so, yeah, you could just click into any of them and see, what are available bounties, what has to get paid out, and what's open for you to contribute to as well. And likewise, if you choose to have open bounties that are available for other audiences, they can come in as well, and they can sort of say, hey, I want to help out with that bounty. That's as simple as going under this advanced column drop down and saying this is a contest bounty. So that means that now not only is it people who are invited, but anybody on Dwork altogether can actually come in and submit some work and claim the bounty as well. Now, this may or may not be relevant to the Aquarians and to your DAO, but just wanted to highlight that it is an option as a way to also grow the contributors overall. Yeah.
We have one question from you, from someone on the live stream chat. Is Dwork available on the mobile phone as well?
Got it. So we don't have a separate mobile app at this stage, but what we do, how we have built it out is that it's responsive. So if I was to, I think, simulate the mobile view, you could actually see that it automatically scales, and you can kind of click and scroll. It's got the hamburger menu, and you can kind of take a look at tasks one by one, and it's got the full view of everything as well. So it scales into a single column. So it works. It works as well on the go. Even things like filtering, etc. It's all available on the mobile side. So it really just comes down to the preference of the individual and what kind of view they want to work at, and how they want to contribute or how they want to manage the project. It's fully functional on both sides. Hope that helps answer the question.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think he still didn't reply to the question. I mean, to the answer he gave, because obviously there is a slight delay.
Sure.
And from what I see on the live stream view, from his perspective, you are still answering to that question, but I'm sure that your answer was more than satisfying for him.
Definitely. Great. Good to hear. Yeah, I think the most of it. Maybe from a management perspective, I would highlight that the about section maybe would be a great place for each individual project to point to. Definitely. Great. As I mentioned earlier, happy to. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, my apologies. Just a quick question. Do you think you would have the time to showcase the perspective of a contributor accepting a bounty, like receiving tokens, and then showing how it would appear on the blockchain? Or would that be too much to ask? Like just setting a test?
Yeah, so that should work. The only problem right now is with using sort of the Gnosis safe, it tends trigger it now. It may or may not be done by the end of the stream. I could drop the link, and then it could be viewed because it's all public at this stage. So I could try to do that right now. So let me go ahead and click create.
Yeah, just drop the link real quick. Yeah. How long does it take for the Gnosis to like update and what's the word?
It takes a couple of minutes at times, but sometimes just because of the chain, like how the network is performing, it can take like an hour or so. So I don't want to. That's why I generally don't like do a payment on a stream or on a call because it sometimes doesn't always go through. What I can at least show is that when it goes through, it will show up in the Gnosis history. And Gnosis saves are public if you know the address. So you can actually go and take a look, and you can see how batch payments show up. So multiple payments in one transaction, and you can see on the chain itself, if you click on the transaction hash, you will see that it shows up as a payment. It shows up how much has been transferred, to what address from the safe and so on. So all of that will showcase on the block explorer.
Perfect. Yes. No. Perfect. And for those of you that don't know, Gnosis safes, a lot of DAOs use that for treasury management and whatnot. It's multi-signature. So because of Dwork's implementation, we'll definitely be integrating a Gnosis safe onto that. But you don't need to worry about that because Aquavote will aggregate all of that data for you in a nice user interface that's not as complicated. So just to clarify.
Yeah,
thank you
great.
so much for showing payment. The functionality.
Sure thing. And like I mentioned earlier, happy to continue conversations. If it makes sense for us to be, on your Discord in a certain channel or something, let us know. We're happy to continue and help in whatever way that's feasible.
For sure. No, most definitely. We'd love to do that. And we'll stay in touch. Okay. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for coming over and showcasing entire D-Work and how innovative tool it is for DAOs.
Thank you so much, Cameron, Machi, and Victoria for having me.
Thank you for coming in and teaching us about this.
Okay, so I think that's a wrap for the product management demo of D-Work. Everyone give a round of applause. Most of our users right now, it's the evening. It's just kind of a last-minute AMA, so most of them will see this later on when the video is archived. But we'll definitely come back to you with some feedback and how to proceed forward later on today.
Sounds great. Thanks again for having me.
No, take care. Thank you. Maurice, so to answer your question, this system is working in tandem with Aquavote. So as I had said earlier, Aquavote is more from a macro perspective of the organization, if that makes sense. Aquavote will aggregate all of the on-chain data, such as the overall Aquari treasury, seeing where transactions are flowing and whatnot, to actually how would you say, give our users a macro view of what's going on in the organization. And that'll be the governance, so you can vote on what happens from a macro level. But then D-Work is more on the micro level. So in terms of, this is DAO project management from a team perspective. So say you are on as you gave an example, you're on a marketing team, right? And your job is to do social media management and whatnot. Well, what happened is whoever is the leader of the social media pod in Aquari would give tasks to put up bounties on the community. So, for example, it could be Franklin, right? You know how he does TikToks for us? It could be we need a TikTok produced showcasing X amount of deliverables. Franklin would say, hey, I want to take on this task. I see that you would pay me in 1 million Aquari for this. I can make a TikTok video. Well, what happened is, let's make it Victoria because she's the head of DAO operations right now. It's easy. Victoria will then assign him to that task. His task will be moved into the in progress section on the Kanban board, and he will then produce a TikTok video. Once it's produced, he'll go to Victoria, say, here it is. She'll be like, oh, this is a good TikTok video. She'll post on social media, and then she'll mark his task as completed, and he will instantly get the deposit of Aquari or whatever token payment that the bounty was listed for, if that makes sense. So this is managing labor. Yes. So clean to earn will continue. So just to clarify, people doing clean to earn will not use this software. This is for holders who want to take on bounties, So for example, Dennis Van Ryn has been doing an amazing job coordinating our cleanups, right? In the future, it'll be oh, we need a cleanup in Belgium. Does any community member want to be the steward and help manage and coordinate that? The reward is 50 million Aquari. Dennis could then apply for this, and then we would assign him that role, and he will be tasked with doing that. And the reason why this is amazing is because from a community perspective, you guys will be able to see all of the different tasks that are being done and taken care of by the DAO and our community members all at the same time. You're seeing how rewards are being distributed from a team perspective. So this is D-Work. You come into D-Work only if you want to do work and keep track of how work is being done internally. If you are a holder and you just don't really care about doing the work, you just want to see and check and see how everything's doing, then what will happen is we will aggregate the data. DWork has like an API that will allow us to pull data from it and render that on Aquavote to say, oh, hey, this task is being taken out by Dennis, and you would just see like, oh, he's working on it. You know what I mean? So this is Trello and Asana. This is project management software for DAOs. Aquavote is if you're in the board meeting and you're looking in the back room with all the cigarettes and seeing how the org is performing from a God's eye view, an omniscient perspective. So yes, I hope you all like that. Vicky, I believe you want to close up with some final sayings on how to participate in Aquari DAO.
Yeah, so just to kind of reiterate everything that's going on, this is all part of the contribution end. So if you are interested in contributing, I have made a form that I will put, should I put in Telegram? Telegram. I will put it in our Telegram Aquari chat. So please do fill it out, kind of just to give us an intro, any experience that you had, what you're interested in. Kind of, like I said, there's 4 pods now that you can get into, which are the growth, community, creative, or governance pod. And so if you are interested, please fill out the form and we will be in contact with you about how to move forward.
Okay, now see, the way it's going to work is, for example, you want to join DWork and start contributing towards the project. And let's say you are going to have some initial rank in the community, some initial DAO rank. And with the progress and the work you are going to contribute towards Aquari DAO, you are going to rank up we can say rank up. I think it's a good metaphor of actually what's going to happen. And the more like trust, because the more work you are going to contribute, the more trustworthy you are going to be for our community, etc. When you are high enough in the hierarchy of certain branch of DAO, for example, marketing, etc., you will be able to join DWork as a project steward and accept tasks, etc. as well. So it's not only going to be us, it's going to be us only for time being, because obviously for now there is no one else going to accept tasks and do stuff like that. But with time, as time progresses, community is going to be able to contribute to that as well.
Yeah. I'm a huge proponent of decentralization, and I understand, like, Niels, your main concern is like, okay, like everything needs to be, how can you can call it decentralized when there's obviously like gatekeepers, right? And the thing is this space is evolving. There's a transition. We're in a transitory period. We can't. There's no manual I can go to the library and say, oh, how to run and operate a decentralized organization. If you guys remember the DAO back in 2015, 2016, we know how that happened. When they tried to fully make a fully decentralized org, fully governed by smart contracts from the get-go, it ended up getting hacked and everything. They had to fork Ethereum. That's why if you hear Ethereum Classic, it was because literally like 14% of all the Ethereum was deposited into this DAO, and it got hacked, and they had to fork it in order to. They had to fork the entire blockchain to not ruin the economy. So the way we're imagining this is, as we evolve, as the space evolves, and as the new decentralized management theory starts to come on the space from the philosophers, we'll start to incorporate that. And actually, once we bring on more competent developers and whatnot, we will start to try to create systems that facilitate the assigning and allocation and rewarding of tasks in a decentralized manner. But the thing is, since we're trying to be a decentralized environmental org first, the thing is we have to become an environmental org first. We can't just say, well, decentralization hasn't been developed yet, so we can't do work. We have to start doing work like now. And this is a system we kind of have, but it will evolve as the space matures into a fully decentralized smart contract governed system. But for now, I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just said that the progress of our decentralization is simply organic. We didn't start as fully decentralized from the get-go, and we are simply getting more decentralized as time progresses and as we matures as an organization.
Yeah, because the hardest part is the fact that, we're an organization that we're trying to do real world impact, and I don't know how you'd be able to coordinate. I don't even know how to begin coordinating like a cleanup crew in person in a decentralized fashion, like in accounting. You know what I mean? Who's going to verify X amount of pounds of plastic we're taking? Like there has to be someone that's inputting that into the system that can be trusted, So these are all answers that we're gonna try to figure out, but we don't want to just like try to give like the Mache and Cameron and Victoria decentralization attempt and then get it hacked, and then it's just it's just gone in one night. Correct. Yes. Exactly. So as you know, like I said, we're making progress. When we started the project fully centralized, to get the foundation, but now we want to reduce these reins and give them and place them in the community. And D-Work will help us keep track of that and keep people accountable in a transparent way. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Thank you so much for coming out. Mr. Stoker, he said, how many can you do with bigger words like 50 million? I just said 50 million because that was like an example. But remember, the idea is that over time, our token price would like increase over time. So, for example, if we need to pay out, I don't know, $1,000 right now, that's 50 million. But $1,000 at 10 million market cap is 1/10 the amount of tokens, as it is at 1 million. So
it was simply an example, arbitrarily value amount of tokens.
Exactly. Obviously, we'll crunch the numbers to see what is economically sustainable and whatnot, and try to attach the amount of Aquari to, as close to actual market value as possible. And obviously, we'll have to develop the systems to assess that as we go.
Oh, the dog returned.
Yes. That's a different dog this time. This is my mom. I'm definitely not getting a small dog. But yes, Victoria, did you want to send out a contributor form, or do you want to set that for later?
I sent it out. It's inside the Aquari chat.
Okay, perfect. I missed that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming out. I'm glad you guys stuck through this, and I'll let you guys have your.
I just before we're going to end, because we started wrapping up, so we don't stretch this entire AMA till like 3 hours or something. Yes, Misiek is still working with us. Misiek actually, from what I know right now, is going to attend the cleanup. Don't hold me, don't hold to my word on that, because I'm yet to confirm that to be absolutely sure. But he mentioned that he's going to attend the cleanup last time I talked with him, which was like 2 or 3 days ago. And Jason is also still working with us, so nothing changed in that matter. And Misiek, I really hope that Misiek is going to end up joining us and our Belgium cleanup.
Yeah, the reason you don't see Jason that often is because he's based in mainland China, and Telegram is not really allowed. So until you'll see him when we move over to Discord more often. But he's working in the background. He's been working on strategy. So and the thing is his most of his contributions come in when it's time to like scale Aquari to like a much bigger company. So yeah, he's still with us. It's just his contributions aren't really visible in the forefront until after we raise. Okay, that's it. I think we're good. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
One more thing, because I didn't notice the part about Aquari, the movie. I think that Chris is in that movie alongside Cameron, and Chris is no longer part of Aquari organization. I think, as we highlighted the reasons and the entire issue several times. If you are going to like if you want to go into details on why, etc., I think it's going to be best to like dive into our previous AMAs, because it's a broad history and a very long one. So at that, so I think it's going to be best to do that. But yeah, except Chris, everyone else that's everyone else that's in this video is still working with us.
Okay, that's a wrap. Okay,
Yeah,
guys. So we'll see you
later
before we finish. I'm so sorry. Before we finish, this is the week of the cleanup, everyone. Or is it not? It is. It is. Yeah,
this is the week. It is this week.
And so, just to reiterate, I hope to see if you're in this chat right now and you're able to make it to Belgium. I hope to see you. We'll drop the address as the date draws near. We're waiting on River Cleanup to give us the specific sites. So, yeah. And if you show up, you'll get to see me, Mache, and Victoria in person. So, look forward to seeing you guys. And we'll have, after the cleanup, we'll have a nice after event. Where everyone can have drinks, snacks, and I'll give a presentation in person along with the rest of the team on where we're going to the foreseeable future.
I hope to see everyone at the cleanup, and thank you once again for joining our Monday's AMA. And see you guys soon, and see you guys at the cleanup. Hopefully, I will see everyone from Aquari there.
And bring friends.
Yeah, definitely bring friends.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.